Muy buenas tardes a todos mis hermanos y hermanas. Una muy bienvenida a los que nos visitan ahora para este día de celebración. So, good afternoon, brothers and sisters, and a very good afternoon to those who are visiting us today on this day of celebration. What I was going to be speaking on was actually a sermon that I had given on Cinco de Mayo. This was back in, I believe it was 2004, 2005. And this one today is actually celebrating 20 years. This is the 20th anniversary of the Hispanic heritage that we've been celebrating. So this I'm just going to be closing, and I'm going to kind of shorten this down. So just bear with me, because of course we have communion. Esther was talking about Cinco de Mayo and how there's misconceptions, that people would think that Cinco de Mayo was basically a Mexican holiday, and yet it's really not. So there's a lot of misconceptions of Hispanics. And just like not all Hispanics are Catholics. Not all Hispanics are immigrants. Just to let you know on my side. My mom was born in Los Angeles in 1922. I think on her side, we're maybe second generation Hispanics. On my father's side, now, he came out of the San Carlos Indian Reservation. So he is Apache and he is Hispanic. And I think there's a little German somewhere in there too. That's, temper-wise, that's quite a mixture. My grandfather, Flores, which was my mom's dad, was a licensed contractor. He was actually a plumber by trade. And he built, actually, he was a jack of all trades. He built houses from the ground up. He was that good. In fact, I've seen some of the houses that he built in East Los Angeles and also in City Terrace. Some of them are still standing to this day. My grandfather on my father's side, my grandfather on my dad's side was a longshoreman. He worked on the docks. They unloaded all the ships that were coming in. My mother would tell me that he would bring, sometimes he would bring big stocks of bananas that they had given them because that was left over. And my father was a mechanic, a very good mechanic, except he was not a very good businessman. He didn't know how to collect from people. My mom, she was a housewife, but she also had to go and work because she had to put food on the table. She also became a teacher's aide. And she was a late bloomer. But she, at 40, she got her driver's license. I took her to get it. And she also, in her late 40s, something like that, she got her BA. She went back to school, she went to college, she did everything. Very proud of my mom. She's, Lord willing, this coming November, she'll be 95. Wow. But I grew up, like I said one time before, I grew up in Los Angeles. I was born in Los Angeles, grew up in East Los Angeles. And basically, as long as you were within a comfort zone, you didn't see that much racism towards Hispanics. There was, if you went out of your comfort zone, you would see it. But I remember, and this is a story that I'll tell, that I was drafted, I got my draft notice to go into the Army at the ending of 1965. And in the ending of January, I went into boot camp up at Fort Ord, California. As soon as I graduated from boot camp, I got my orders. We all used to get our orders, opened mine up and looked, and lo and behold, I was sent to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, home of the 101st Airborne Division. After a 2-week leave, a friend that I had made up there, he also lived in East Los Angeles. We left from LAX, we made a stop in Texas. And I remember that, I don't know if it was Tellez International Airport, but I remember that when we got there, that we had a layover of maybe a couple of hours, 2, maybe 3 hours. So we decided to go out, look at the city, and maybe find a place to eat. So I remember as we're walking out there, we're going there and we see a restaurant. I said, hey, let's go ahead and go get something to eat. We walked up, and I remember on the door there was a sign. Went up, looked at it, and said, no dogs or Mexicans allowed.
Oh my God.
And I said, oh. So I said, okay, let's go find another one. We went, looked at another one, there was another sign. No dogs or Mexicans allowed. So we looked at each other, turned around, went back to the airport, and just stayed there until it was time for us to go and to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. But it always amused me because years later, when we were worldwide, I remember that we decided to go to Corpus Christi, Texas for the feast, or the festival, church festival, whatever you want to call them at that time. And we flew there, and I think we got off in Dallas, Texas, but we rented a van, and then we started to go towards Corpus Christi. But then we decided, hey, how about stopping at the Alamo? I'd love to see the Alamo. Because as a kid growing up, and I don't know, more mature people that are here remember, as kids, the Walt Disney, the program that they used to have. And I believe it was on Sundays, and they used to show all of these different historical shows. Johnny Tremaine, Swamp Fox, Scarecrow, all of these different ones, and it had to do with history. Also, Davy Crockett. And I remember growing up watching all this, and I even had a Davy Crockett hat and everything. And I remember Davy Crockett, frontiersman, Davy Crockett goes to Congress, Davy Crockett at the Alamo. And I remember watching that, and there was Davy, and they killed Davy, and I remember saying, those dirty Mexicans, they killed Davy. And then, when we were at the Alamo, we had guides that take you through the Alamo and show you everything. And I remember our guide telling us, oh, on that wall back there are the names of all those who died here at the Alamo fighting, for freedom and liberty. I said, oh wow, I gotta go over there. I've gotta see who's there, all these famous people. So I went over there right away and I started scanning, looking down, looking for famous names, like John Wayne and and here it goes, and I see, wait a minute, that's a Hispanic name. What's that doing here? And then going down, I said, hey, that's another Hispanic name. What's going on here? And it turned out that there was a lot of Hispanics who had fought and died at the Alamo. So it was kind of amusing to me about the things that had happened, but that's human nature, that's us. That's how we conceive things. We're the ones that build barriers. We're the ones that build walls. And that's because, of course, we all know, going all the way back to the beginning, when Satan succeeded in separating man from God. And that's the way it's been ever since. We know that. He tried in Job, he tried to separate God from man and failed, of course, because God is God. But I'm going to be closing out now. But we're here to celebrate, of course, on a human side. We're here to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, which is a celebration. And it's not only for Hispanics, it's a celebration for everybody, to celebrate freedom and liberty. And on a spiritual, of course, we're here to celebrate communion. And because of what Jesus did at the cross for us, that's why we have freedom. That's why we have liberty from sin, because of what Jesus did for us. So, enjoy. There's plenty of food. We have a piñata for the kids. And I'm glad it stopped raining. Or else we would have had to have it inside. And I was telling Bernie that if it was inside, we'd have to find someone brave, a volunteer, someone that would be brave enough to hold a piñata while the kids eat. So, have a great celebration, brother.